Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to look at the chapter number 3 of Short Sufi Tales authored by Malak Muhammad Usman Sahib. So let's read the chapter first, then we will, or I will share what I think about it. So let's have a look at that. So this chapter, the title is Layout of Homes in Khudistan. Khudistan is a state where municipality instructed its residents to construct their homes following a particular construction plan. It was notified that homes whose construction shall not be in accordance with the plan would not be given the completion certificates. The municipal council discussed the standard construction plan for a house in a great detail. Finally, after a long thought process, a basic construction layout plan was issued. This was a reference layout for all the homes in Khudistan. It was made compulsory that between the entrance gate of a home and the rear rooms a suitable distance shall be maintained. The entrance gate should open in a spacious courtyard. Any person entering a home shall use the entrance gate and arrive in the courtyard. He shall then cross the courtyard to reach the veranda constructed in front of the rear rooms. He shall then by crossing veranda reach in front of the doors of the rear rooms. Here hence there were 4 steps for a person to enter a rear room: the entrance gate, the courtyard, the veranda, and the door near the room. No one could enter the rear room unless he first would pass through these 4 checkpoints. The residents of Khudistan greatly appreciated this construction layout. They realized that it keeps them safe and separate from any other person entering their homes, any intruder. The barrier between the entrance gate and the rear rooms ensured an appropriate distance, which in turn generated peace and tranquility in their lives. Khudistan, literal meaning self, soul, land, the personality of a person. Entrance gate, the route from where the sense data and emotions enter the mind. Rear room, the commanding center of consciousness, the barrier, the ability of a person to remain in control, sitting at the center of his consciousness, being without being immediately influenced by emotions, senses, and perception. Let's have a look at the layout of this graphical layout. Basically, it's a layout. So we have like 4 checkpoints. One is this gate, second is the courtyard, third is the veranda, and fourth is the door. So this creates a sense of security and all the safety measures. So this is the layout of self-realization. So which Malik Saab has said that the first is self, entrance gate, emotions. So commanding center, the barriers are, so these are the filters we need to apply. So if any emotion needs to come here, commanding center, it needs to be have this distance. So it's a beautiful uh, way of putting these things. So again, a very useful and well narrated and well thought story by Malik Usman Saab. In this story, they are basically saying that the the self-realization, or not the self-realization, I think the correct word would be to to lead this life, we need to have security checks like our commanding center. Commanding center is the one which is deciding on all the matters, how to go about this life, how to deal with certain issues. So, in our being, we have emotions. As I discussed in the previous video, that the being which decide is influenced by many factors. So, once if someone is disrespectful to me or starts insulting me, how I am going to react. In normal circumstances, anyone reacting to anyone will first analyze that why this person is doing so. If he is mentally ill or have some mental disorder issues, then the reaction will be different. If someone is having some other issues, then the reaction will be accordingly. But a godly man, or the man who treads the path of divine, he has got these checks like main gate, courtyard, veranda. So these are the checks which he applies to his emotions. Then he decides if being what reaction he needs to take. So in our daily lives, we need to create that ability in ourselves, that what triggers us, what motivates us to do certain things. Either we react to something or we respond to something. Reaction is action, and reaction, they are both like Newton's third law. They are both equal and opposite in direction. If someone throws something at me, I will immediately react and throw something back at them. If someone starts abusing me, disrespecting me, immediately I will start the same thing. But if I have these checks in place, first I will identify, process, and maybe I will decide to let go. Maybe I will decide to start conversing with that person, asking him why he is abusive towards me, what is the real issue irritating him or her. Maybe I can resolve that issue. Maybe I will have thousand other plans to respond to that person. Maybe I will ignore him. Maybe something else I will do. So respond and reaction. Response and reaction. These are the two things which we need to identify first, and then as we progress in the life, we should decide on our life what to do in certain situations, and we should analyze broadly, not based on our instincts or reflexive actions. We should give it a thought and then react. And these checks and balances are there who tread the path of divine. Because this Khudistan means that the person, Khudi basically I think is a Persian word, or it is also used in Urdu language. Khudi means self. Khudistan means a self, a path to self, or where these divine beings are there. So they will have always these checks on them. So whoever will be the be the traveler of this path, he will always have these checks. Otherwise, this municipality will not approve it. This municipality is some authority in this. This is just a layout. It's some metaphorical example given by Malik Usman Saab. So in this, I think that this municipality is the regulatory authority to be able to admit in that divine path. We need to have these checks and balances on ourselves, how we do, what we do, why we do, what motivates us, how we respond to certain situations, how we sometimes we give up, sometimes we fight back, sometimes we. So, what is our reaction? That should be based on our self or something like which is no strings no strings attached with any of our decisions. That is the core issue, but it is very hard as well because we have many strings which are attached by our society, and it is very, you know, it is very difficult to keep away from them and be at bay. Maybe in certain areas we are able to practice that selflessness or that barriers in place are there. Some, but sometimes our loved ones, dear and dear ones, they will come and they will try to cross those barrier and directly come to the commanding center without having those checks. So it is likely to fall into that trap and decide something or act something which is not according to that checks and balances or checks and barriers or checkpoints. So this is a very good lesson at the start. This is the third chapter we are entering, and it's a very good lesson. I hope that it is because my understanding is very limited as compared to the vast understanding of the author. So I am just interpreting based on my own data, my own collections. I hope that it is somewhere near the author's uh, lesson. So I hope and pray that we all are able to develop such checks and barriers as we go along in this path. And I wish good luck to myself and all of you as well. So we will see you in the next chapter. Till then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.